Okay, as I said before, this lady rescued me while I was in the loo, that loo there, passing out. But she is the founder of the Ox Centre, which is a community organisation set up to support children and families experiencing trauma and emotional difficulties. She's also an adoptive parent herself. She's an amazing healer, nutritional therapist, massage therapist. She's got a whole host of holistic therapies under her belt. Please welcome to the stage the wonderful Denise Baldock.
Thank you. It's nice to actually see the venue, not just the toilet this time. Sorry. Apologies, I haven't learnt my speech, so I should be reading and attempting to make some eye contact as well. Okay.
We love you.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about emotional resilience, particularly emotional resilience around children. That's one of my biggest passions. I was 17 the first time I found out that it was okay to feel worried about upsetting someone. I was 17 the first time I found out that other teenagers were anxious about travelling on the train. I was 17 the first time I found out that it's okay to feel sad sometimes and not know why. I was 17 when I found out it was okay to worry about not being pretty enough or about just not being enough. I was 17 when I met Maribel outside the crypt in Hastings, bonded instantly by her enjoying the way that I laughed and our mutual poor taste in men. We were only 17, we were allowed. Fellow sensitive souls negotiating our way into the adult world. She was the first person I've met who, like me, felt things deeply, had similar worries. And sitting up on the cliffs in Fairlight, we talked and shared and validated who we were through the expression of our emotions in a safe and held space with each other. My soul, and very likely my mother, who had never quite got it, gave a huge sigh of relief. Before this meeting, I felt lonely, anxious, confused, and to be honest, a bit of a weirdo. Can anyone relate? Such was the importance of this first honest and deep friendship. Our biggest need in life is to be seen for who we really are, to have all parts of ourselves seen, loved, accepted, held safe, and it starts at the beginning. If we are lucky enough to have loving, capable parents, we receive this as babies. Then we start to develop our language, our personalities, discovering a sense of ourselves, practicing the word no, and we might get put in those terrible two categories for a while. And maybe the adoration from our parents might wean a little. We are still loved, but maybe our behaviour is starting to be put into good or bad categories. Maybe not from our parents, maybe from the wider community. And the judgment on our emotional expression has begun. Starting school, little Johnny is feeling worried, starting to cry and cling to mum. He's only just keeping it together herself. Our protective instinct with children is to reassure, to say, there's nothing to worry about, you'll have a lovely time once you get there. A little Johnny continues to cry. He knows full well there's something to worry about. He's leaving his mum for a whole day. There is a different way. We can learn to meet our children where they are at in that moment. This means being comfortable to feel their full emotion with them, to acknowledge, I can see you are worried. It's okay to be worried. When you're doing something new, Mummy gets worried too sometimes. Let's do a big breath together and blow all the worries out our tummies. And then you can move on to reassurance. This piece of mindful parenting has untold benefits for the child. They learn to name what they are feeling through your reflection. They learn that it is okay to feel that way and it's safe to express it. And then they learn there is a way to make it feel better. Isn't that amazing? Imagine if every adult could notice and name their emotions, feel safe to express them, find a healthy way to move through them and find resolution. What if we were all equipped with those skills from a young age, the tools of emotional resilience? Would there be road rage, violence, war, teen suicide, idiotic, egocentric, dispassionate world leaders? If everyone had their emotional needs met throughout their life, what would happen? Does not stop hard things, painful things happening in life, of course. That is the way life goes sometimes. But if you've been given those tools to deal with it, you have a much better chance of coming out the other end in a healthy state of mind. If we don't learn to manage our emotions, then what happens? A whole range of distracting and destructive patterns of thinking and behaviour can take hold. Feelings get pushed down, covered up, ignored, run away from. But they don't go away. Instead, they will find another way out, eventually. I have lost count of the number of clients I have seen presenting with serious and debilitating illnesses that have been living with huge amounts of unresolved trauma from their past. Except it's not in the past. It's right here in the present, showing up in a different way. I've recently been working with a client whose mother was an alcoholic and died when my client was 17. The family closed down and no one spoke of it again. Imagine that, your mum dies and no one ever talks about it. Ever. Age 18, my client met and married a man and was locked into an abusive marriage for 10 years and had 3 children. Finding the strength to leave, she is now battling post-traumatic stress disorder, and her children are also experiencing various emotional difficulties as a result of living in this toxic relationship. So what if? What if someone had spoken to that grieving, angry, sad, confused teenager and supported her through those feelings? An empathetic teacher, a counsellor, it doesn't have to be family. Just someone equipped to hold that safe space for as long as it's needed. Would her life have taken a different course? She is now learning at the age of 38 how to safely explore her feelings and building her own tools of emotional resilience. It is hard work, with all the layers and destructive behaviours on top of the original trauma she had at 17. Maybe it would have been easier when she was 17. I work with children and families using mindfulness, meditation, relaxation and healing. I teach mindfulness to parents, for how else can they hold the safe space open for their children to share emotionally if no one is holding them and creating space for them first? I work directly with children on a one-to-one. Those from where there's a recognition from a teacher or a sensitive parent that this child is struggling in some way, often where their behaviour has earned them the wrong kind of attention. We start at the roots, the emotions that always underlie the behaviour, and work with those in a creative and playful way. There is no bad behaviour, just a response to a feeling that cannot be understood, expressed or managed within an environment they find stressful, often in school. 95% of the children I work with are boys aged 5 to 9. We are still expecting different things from boys, and emotional vulnerability and expression is not commonly one of them. The girls more typically get their head down and get on with it, taking all their emotions with them. But they have some innate awareness also that particular emotions, maybe like anger, are not acceptable to be expressed. It is getting better. We are becoming more enlightened and heart-centered in our thinking. But still my heart breaks for the little boy who last week got told not to cry by his father after falling off his bike and hurting himself. I believe children and adults should be allowed all of their emotions. We are humans, we feel and we respond to the world around us. I believe that no behaviour should be labelled bad, but instead we should become curious about what is hiding underneath that. That is not to say we accept all expressions of behaviour, but instead honour the emotion fueling it, encourage a safe and healthy way to allow it out. We can do this through mindfulness, through becoming aware of each moment, becoming aware of our own emotional landscape, before we can help the younger ones be aware of theirs. Slowing down and noticing the children in our lives, really noticing what they are feeling, experiencing, learning about life and themselves. Being a good role model for learning and using those tools of emotional resilience ourselves, owning our feelings and saying sorry when we get things wrong. We're all still learning. I am definitely still learning. My favourite distractions from emotions are Facebook and food. But I have enough awareness to come back to myself and find out what is really going on. Sometimes it takes longer than others. Last week I managed to put on 4 pounds in weight. Quite impressive really, and not altogether unenjoyable. But this week I'm back, sitting with my emotions and finding my way through. As Sally said, I have set up a charity called the Ox Centre to serve children and families in Brighton and Hove that experience trauma and emotional difficulties. And that's anything that is traumatising for a child. Sometimes just getting up and going to school is their personal trauma. It's a new service, so please help spread awareness by looking us up on Facebook or coming to talk to me about it afterwards. I'm also about to start working particularly with adoptive parents. As Sally said, we adopted a little girl 2 years ago, and she's been my greatest teacher, and she continues to be my greatest teacher. She told me to go up here and be confident, not be shy, so hopefully I've managed. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Denise. And can you just tell everybody how they can get in touch with you?
It's Denise at Ox Centre on Facebook.
Okay. Denise at Ox Centre.
I have cards if anybody wants them.
Okay, cool. And are you looking to connect with anybody in particular?
Anyone who's interested in working therapeutically with children. We've got a team of therapists, but we're really open to people coming to join us because we're just starting out. So.
Thank you so much. That was really, really powerful stuff. Really powerful. So important, isn't it, to get in touch with the way that we're really feeling and try to avoid wearing those masks and to get real, open and honest. That's where the healing lies. Okay.